welcome to West Country Wanderings and welcome to another one in my railway series, complete with a freight train going past. I'm in the Oxfordshire town of Didcot. I'm actually at Didcot Parkway today. It's a very, very misty, bit of a murky day, so we're not doing a walking one today. Wouldn't be appropriate, wouldn't be able to see the landscapes, that's for sure. So we're on the Great Western Main Line between Bristol and London Paddington today. So it's in the far eastern section of the area that I cover on my channel. And the reason I've come here today is to visit the GWR Railway Centre here, which is right next to Didcot Parkway Railway Station. So I hope you can join me. It's a special day here today. They have open days in January at weekends. There are no steam trains running, but I've been assured that we can have a tour of the locomotives in the railway sheds here. Yes, lots of trains here. This is the junction for the lines that head up to Oxford and Birmingham via Banbury as well. But yeah, so you'll see lots of trains whizzing past. There we go, there's another one. That's a cross-country one, probably coming down from Manchester, probably even going down to Bournemouth via Reading. You never know. But yeah, so we're here. Hope you can join me. I'm going to head now. There's a direct connection. Don't even need to go out into the streets. You go down into the underpass and there's a direct connection that takes you right into the railway station, or the railway centre, shall I say, here at Didcot. So over there they have a little turntable, not for locomotives, but I think that one is just for the wagons. And you have I think it's called a coal run here. I know a lot of you will be more experts in railways than what I am, so be able to fit in the pieces. When I got some more information, I'll stick it here as a subtitle, but you've got the slope that goes up there. We'll have a closer look at that. So this is the little station they've got at the Didcot Railway Centre here, which is obviously when they're running steam trains. We will come back here on another occasion to see some locos in steam. It's my first visit here. I've only ever glimpsed it when I've been changing trains here, going on up to Oxford, and been glimpsing it and seen steam engines here, and I've always wanted to come. The problem is with heritage lines at this time of the year, January, February, March, they tend to shut down completely. And when I went round all the usual ones, Severn Valley, the Avon Valley, the West Somerset, the other ones that I've done on the channel, they've got nothing going. And then I saw this, an open weekend around the engine sheds, which we will have a look at shortly. I thought, yes, I think my lovely subscribers and viewers would be interested in that, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to have a bit of a wander around the outside, and then I'm going to go in and grab a coffee. They do have a cafe here apparently, full facilities. And I'll have a look inside the engine sheds, and we should be able to hopefully get inside the cabs of some of the steam locos they've got here, that a lot of them were actually built at the former Loco works at Swindon, which I passed through earlier on my journey today, and were used on the Great Western Main Line and other parts of the GWR network. Now, you can't often do this on railway tracks, but because there's no trains running, we are allowed to walk along the path. Don't think I've ever walked in between railway tracks before. I feel like I'm doing something highly illegal, but the gentleman who got my ticket, or stamped my ticket, actually wasn't stamped, it was on my phone. It was £9.50 coming today. That included a £1 donation, so you can get in for £8.50 for adults. I'll put the details, the other prices below. I think they got a couple more weekends coming up, so by the time you see this, there still might be one or two left before it reverts back to been running in steam. Now that over there by the side of that little hut is one of the old catches for the GPO Mail Bags. It's when they could collect them. That's the Oxford line there. It's a train coming down from Oxford heading towards London. But yeah, they used to be part of the GPO system. They didn't actually like use them, so you had travelling trains that sorted the mail, went on, and it didn't have to stop to collect the post or indeed dispatch it off the train. Certainly they're a relic of the past. Good to see that. It's a nice collection of former GWR wagons here. This one looked like it was based at Pontypool Road. And yes, there is the coal. I'm not sure know the technical term for it, it's for loading coal into wagons. We'll have a closer look at that. The building's actually called a coal stage. And it was South Wales coal that was here, brought over obviously using the GWR tracks via the Severn Tunnel, and then loaded into the steam locomotives tendered, and it can take up to 6 tons of coal for each tender. It's brilliant just to be able to wander around the tracks and just discover things for yourselves here. As I say, I've never been able to do that. The only closest we've had to that previously is when we were on the East Somerset Railway and we had to look at their maintenance sheds, but you certainly couldn't walk along the tracks. But yeah, this is quite an experience. So that's where the coal would have come out on and then dropped into the tender. So you'd have the steam loco here with its coal tender on the back, and then it would have loaded that up, hence the difference it needed to be in height. Got a diesel shunter there. I think that's a class 08 potentially. I think they have a nickname called Gronks. And we have a much older shunter there, DL26. I'm not sure where that one was built. So yeah, that's its original number there, 604. Wonderful. So that's the engine shed on the right hand side there. I think that one was built in the 1930s through a government grant to alleviate the high unemployment they had in this area, and it was obviously used to restore and maintain GWR then steam locomotives and later diesel locos too. So we'll certainly have a look at that in a moment. As you see, you've got full facilities here. We've got a shop, toilets, there's also a museum which we'll have a look at too. And there we have a railway crane. Gives an indication of the safe lifting limits based on the radius, how far out the main crane beam or lifting jib is. So it's 6 tons, 15-foot radius, 3 tons, 23-foot radius. So over here is a collection of signs from the GWR area. The famous old oak common shed outside of Paddington, and there Brixham signal box. Now, interesting report. I used to work in Brixham until 2 or 3 years ago, and they're talking about opening a footpath up between Churston and Brixham. So we have another station here, Radley Junction for Abingdon. And it has a fine GWR pagoda shelter. Abingdon used to have its own station. Coming off, there is a station still at Radley on the main line heading into Oxford, but Abingdon station is no more. But yeah, this is a wonderful recreation here. At the end of the line down there, we have a signal box and a water town. Just check out that signal too. I just love this poster, Dartmouth, and the lovely Dart the English Rhine. Yes, I certainly know Dartmouth very well, having lived there for a few years, up until fairly recently. Trolley there too. Let's see how far we can go down. Yes, it's just a wonderful delight to be able to walk around this. And over there, it's got a Wickham trolley that the volunteer staff that work on the Didcot Railway Centre here use for maintenance. And here we have a sign saying it's Addlestrop, a famous station that once was. The line's still open, of course. It's on the Cotswold line between Worcester and Oxford. Station now long gone, and it was made famous because of the poem. Terrific set of level crossing gates. I must admit, I didn't realise just how big this Didcot Railway site was. I just thought it was the engine shed, cafe, shop, toilets, and the coal facility there. But there is so much else here. There, they look at the detail with that. You've got the telegraph pole there, complete with the wires too. See if I can get around the other side of that, on the roadside. I hope you're enjoying the tour here. I'm just going to have a look at the carriage shed and the turntable. Then we'll go into the main engine shed here, Didcot Railway Centre. But now, just before we do that, we've got these magnificent level crossing gates here too. Just see that there behind me. It's almost like I'm on a stage set here. I've just gone back in time. Wonderful recreation of old GWR. Even got a terrific original, oh there it is, with the red triangle. You certainly don't see that anymore, do you? Wonderful level crossing enamel road sign here. Even the road surface, they've actually cobbled it too. So very, very authentic touch. I'm loving this other road sign here. It's from the county of Somerset, well into GWR territory of course, and GWR railway station there. Nennet, Threbley and Ubley. And this side, it's got Burlescombe there, just behind me there, which of course is on the Grand Western Canal between Tiverton and coming up to Taunton, just at the southern end of the Somerset there. So yeah, Burlescombe, terrific road sign there. We'll have a look down at the crane a bit. In terms of layout and experience, this is one of the best heritage centres, railway heritage centres I've been to. I'd love obviously seeing locos in steam, and as I say, we will come back here. I think the next event is in early March when they've got a Castles event. They've got 4 there restored Castle locomotives in action. Just see if we can see. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're allowed through there, but there's the engineering department, and there's truck over on that side there. Just over the other fence there, that there is a freight depot. I think it's DB Shunter freight depot, so there's lots of container railway wagons in there. It's quite large, and I say it's a very, very busy area for railway. So we're in the centre of a triangle. Sort of Oxford is heading up in that direction. You see you've got an apex of railways coming up to it, and the main line between Bristol, Swindon and London, Paddington, is behind me. Another terrific crane here. Look at the size of that jib on that. So built by Thomas Smiths and Sons, Radley, Leeds in Yorkshire. So not built in GWR territory. But this down here looks like, yes, St Blazy in Cornwall. That's very familiar to me. So let's look back here at the site there. It's quite, with the mist there, it gives a lot of atmosphere to it. As I say, it does look like we've stepped back in time That's tremendous. I just read it's actually 21 acres, this site, which is a huge area. And it looks like there's another railway station up here. When we saw that sign saying Burlescombe, quarter of a mile, it should take us to a recreation of Burlescombe Station, which used to be in Somerset. And yeah, we'll just go and have a look at that now. The carriage bay is just in there, so there, where my hand is on the right, and we'll say we'll go and have a look at that, and then we'll have a look at the main shed. But certainly a lot to see here. Now that bit there isn't actually open to the public. That's the wagon and bogie repair shop. Lots of work going on there. That cooperative wholesale society milk tank we did actually see at the start of the video, and that was repaired in here. Obviously there's more work undertaken on those wagons at the moment. I hope you're enjoying the tour here today at the Didcot Railway Centre in Oxfordshire. Love to know what you think. Don't forget you can share, comment, like, or indeed subscribe to my channel, West Country Wanderings. Love to hear from you. And don't forget also, I've got that Facebook group also called West Country Wanderings. Just search for that in Facebook, and you can request to join the group, and you can also then share your own photographs, railway photographs, canal photographs, walking, and indeed anything in the entire wider West Country area that I cover. So here's another wonderful scene. The railway tracks here, and another tremendous signal box, this one from the Somerset town of Frome. Frome still has a station, busy station. Actually it's a Brunel shed. I've included that in one of my previous videos looking at the town there, and it has a junction to a quarry. I think it's called Watley or Whately Quarry, so it still has a mineral junction. Alas, I don't think it has a signal box anymore though. And that's amazing, isn't it? So I walked quarter of a mile from Oxfordshire and now ended up at Burlescombe in southern part of Somerset. Tremendous. And both those signal arms there down, so it's clear to go, but there aren't any trains running here today. But now you'll notice something very, very odd about the tracks at this point. Yes, you're quite correct. It's broad gauge, or rather it's standard gauge and broad gauge at this point. It's a recreation of what it would have looked like in Brunel's day when he had his broad gauge running on the network, GWR network. I've never seen that before on a preserved line, so that's wonderful to see. Let's have a closer look at that. Yes, that's something you don't see every day, is it? Broad gauge. Terrific. You notice in Burlescombe Station there is a locomotive. Excuse the noise of the trains. Oh, that's not a steam one, I'm afraid. It's a proper GWR, ordinary GWR. Current GWR, should I say. But yeah, we'll see if we can get a closer look at Burlescombe Station. Not sure if this is a replica of the locomotive Firefly, but it's tremendous. Look at that roof, check out that roof. This just has such an authentic feel to it. You feel like you've completely gone back in time here. Look at that. That is amazing. Also amazing, these carriages here. Look at the beautiful brass handles there. See if I can get a closer shot. And this here was literally what they meant by cattle class. So we're now, I think, at our fourth station. Yes, I think it's the fourth station here at Didcot Railway Centre. And the name of this one, appropriately enough, is Oxford Road. We had Burlescombe, didn't we, previously? And I've already forgotten the name of the other two. One was at, oh yes, Radley Junction. And we had the first one, which I think was unnamed. I'll check on that and put that in below. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the tour here of Didcot Railway Centre. I hope you are too. So if you've been here at all before, particularly if you've been here on a steam day, and I hope to revisit it when some of the locomotives are on steam, I'd love to hear from you. Please drop a comment. But what we're going to do now is have a tour of the carriage sheds, and then we'll have a tour of the locomotive sheds. This section of broad gauge track and the pipe is all that remains of Brunel's atmospheric railway, which he tried out around the Starcross area of South Devon. So this is the carriage shed. Typical GWR chocolate and cream colours there. So this is a Ransoms and Rapier Limited turntable working load of 175 tonnes and manufactured in Ipswich in Suffolk in 1935. Also got a fantastic diesel locomotive number 18000, which is undergoing restoration, as is 5227. Let's have a closer look at those two. Actually worked on the area that I cover on my channel. It was given the name 18000 and worked mostly from Paddington to Plymouth between 1949 until it was withdrawn in 1960. So just an 11-year shelf life, which doesn't seem that much considering the engineering that went into it. I don't know why it didn't later become successful, but and sadly it did. And the Great Western, even when it became the Western region of British Railways in 1947, liked to think it was different and set apart from the rest of BR, the rest of British Railways. This is no exception. This is the 1800 GWR gas turbine project. So it's a gas turbine locomotive. I didn't realise that. Built in 1949. The first gas turbine electromotive was built in Switzerland in 1941. and following a visit to inspect and see it run, the company ordered a similar loco in 1946, built by Brown, Boveri and the Swiss Locomotive Company. This became only the third gas turbine loco in the entire world. Wow, magnificent. And the loco next to it, number 5227, sadly I don't have any information on that. There's no plaque beside the side of it, so I'll see what I can gather on the net and put that in the usual way. But yeah, obviously a lot of work that needs to be done on both of those locos, one steam and one unusually gas turbine. And behind me is a Traverso. It was built at Derby Works Midland Railway in 1897, but it actually operated in GWR Metals at Old Oak Common, and it enables the different lanes or roads as they're called inside the shed. I think that someone's just got an engine started on the other side of the side here, hence the shouting there. But yeah, it actually moved them across in a transverse format, hence the name Traverso. Now this un-railway looking item is actually the Wantage Road Garage, which was built around 1924 to house road vehicles to provide transport between Swindon and the Oxfordshire town of Wantage. Wantage Road Station opened in 1846 to serve the town of Wantage 2.5 miles away. In 1875, the Wantage Tramway opened to carry passengers and goods from Wantage Road Station into the town. The tramway closed to passengers in 1925, and then GWR provided a road motor bus service. So we're now going to enter the main loco depot. I think it's going to be quite dark in there, so I'll do some of it using video. It might be a little bit grainy, but then I'll go around and take some photographs with what I call my fast lens. So it's a lot more light in, but that'll be stills, and I'll do that as a photo montage. Anyway, hope you enjoy the sequence from the loco shed here at Didcot Railway Centre in Oxfordshire.
Welcome to the cab of 5900 Linderton Hall. We're just getting the loco ready so that we can go and collect our train. But come on in and we'll explain something about the controls. I've already been around oiling up 5900 and it's taken about 3/4 of an hour. But while I get cleaned up, I'll let Stan, my fireman today, tell you a bit about his job.
My job is to make sure Archie has enough steam. The tender behind the loco holds 4,000 gallons of water and 6 tons of coal. You heard me shoveling some of the coal into the firebox. I also need to make sure we have enough water in the boiler so that it can be converted to steam. The water should be about 2/3 of the way up the glass tube. The pressure gauge shows how much steam pressure we have in the boiler. You can see the red line that I'm aiming for. The smaller gauge is used during the winter when we use steam to heat the passenger carriages. I need to carry on getting things ready, so I'll hand you back to Archie.
The main controls for driving the Loco are on the right hand side. We have a screw reverser on this Loco. This controls both the direction we will go and the amount of time steam is put into the cylinders. It's called cut-off. As we go faster, I will reduce the cut-off. The large lever in the middle controls the amount of steam going to the cylinders. This operates a pair of valves inside the smoke box at the front of the Loco just behind the chimney. Our brakes work by vacuum. We create a vacuum using steam, but once we are running, we have a pump that keeps the vacuum. Listen out for the ticking noise when a Great Western engine is running. That's the pump. When I need to apply the brakes, I let air into the brake system. You can see the holes in the brake handle. I'll demonstrate this. I'm afraid we need to go and get water at the water crane at the front of the engine shed before we head off to Morton Sidings to get our train. Stan is going to put some more water into the boiler. Thank you for visiting us. Please use the steps on Stan's side of the Loco.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour of the locomotive sheds at the Didcot Railway Centre here on West Country Wanderings. Not quite over for our trip here today. We're going to have a look now at the Swindon Signalling Centre, a recreation of that here, and also a look at the Railway Museum. So this is the Signalling Centre, recreation of the Swindon panel signal box. We'll go inside and have a closer look. Very much a full hands-on display here, because if I move this lever here and pull it back, you can see over there that the signal comes down, locks into place. I can release it again, and it goes, and brings it back up into that. This one here was from Iton's signal box, and it's communicating with Beaton signal box. Each track is used for traffic in one direction only. That's not the case necessarily these days, with an up line for trains towards London and a down line, and it requires that only one train should occupy an individual track between the two signal boxes at one time, and it relies on the exchange of bell codes and the use of block instruments, as you can see here. These are from GWR in 1947. If the needle is in the normal section, that means there's no train in the section. Got there, the train is in the line on where, because it's pointing to the red section there. Now this through the glass here is Swindon panel signal box, which was opened in 1968 and closed around about the mid, I think it was 2015, 2016, and moved here to Didcot. It's currently under full restoration, but you can see the scale of the operations for the tracks at Swindon. Also on site here is the Great Western Trust Museum and Archive. We'll go in and have a closer look at that now. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the tour of the Swindon panel signal box and also the splendid GWR museum. Particularly like the pottery, the old train spotter photos and guidebooks, and also the collection of the toy trains too. That's a fabulous museum. Really, really good here at the Didcot Railway Centre in Oxfordshire, all things GWR. There's a little window where you'd buy the tickets. Through the door, they got some of the original uniforms here too, which is good to see. Complete with a broom handle, there we go, and GWR seat. But yes, these are all the original coloured tickets, and it was sited, this ticket office, at Welford Park in Berkshire, which closed in 1973. And it was been rebuilt here at the Didcot Railway Centre. These were known as Edmondson tickets, named after their inventor, Thomas Edmondson, a station master for the Newcastle and Carlisle Railway way back in the 1840s. And they were so successful that the format was adopted all over the world. Well, from inside the booking office at Didcot Railway Centre, that brings an end to today's adventures on a railway series video here on West Country Wanderings. Love to know what you think. I've thoroughly enjoyed my day today. This is a far bigger, much more extensive site with so much to see, and I'll certainly be back here again to look at some things in steam at a future event, hopefully later on this year. There'll be other railway series ones on my channel. They'll either be coming from heritage railways like the West Somerset Railway. I'm certainly waiting to get back there again when they're in steam again, and also the Dean Forest Railway, and probably the SVR Severn Valley Railway and the Gloucestershire Warwickshire Steam Railway too. In addition to that, there'll also be a few videos looking at or exploring closed railway lines and seeing what we can see of the remains of those. Hope you enjoyed it today. There'll also be other videos on my channel aside from railway series. One's on canals, one's on walking, one's looking at coast, castles and all things West Country. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you on the channel again very, very soon. All the best for now. Cheers. Goodbye.